Hello. Um, Today, we're talking about NanoClaw, the Claude native claw. And my speaker notes are where, actually? Oh, wow. They're there. Okay. Anyways, this is the GitHub star graph for a couple of the claws that have come out recently. Obviously, OpenClaw is a big blue one. It just goes up. And these are some other ones. There's IronClaw, PicoClaw, ZeroClaw, and NanoClaw, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. So just a few weeks ago, we had a OpenClaw SD weekend. How many of you guys came out for that? Woo. Clapping, right? Yeah. It was crazy. It's crazy that in just like a few weeks, like middle February, I don't know, it went from like 0 stars to 300. Absolutely insane. It's more than Linux, more than, actually, what are some other popular repositories? React, more than React. Oh, more than Svelte, that's true. I guess that's true. And it inspired all these spin-offs that I just mentioned, IronClaw, PicoClaw, ZeroClaw, NanoClaw, and whatnot. The people have spoken. They want a tool that builds software around your life, not having to pick a software tool and build your life around it. And that's what these claws are giving us. Oh, hi. My name is AJ Caldwell. And I make things with text. I'm one of the volunteers around here, and I am glad that you guys came. First off, the claw. I said claw like 10 times already, but what am I talking about? A claw is an AI agent that acts like an actual assistant, like a real person, maybe. It communicates in humanish channels, so Discord, iMessage, WhatsApp. It retains memory over time, think markdown files. And it runs scheduled tasks, think cron jobs. It also does actual work. So make your app, summarize your agenda at 9 a.m., maybe generate your slides, all good things. So my claw. As you know, the hype cycle was like going. I looked around and I was most attracted to one of those claws I listed out, NanoClaw. For, I guess, 2 reasons. One, I have a software background, so the idea of like a claw, which we'll get into, that's built as a very small core, about 4,000 lines, something I could read and understand was really attractive to me. And part 2, I have an Anthropic sub, and apparently it's made off of Claude Code, so that's a good fit. And maybe it could be your claw. For those already deep into lobster lore, you could use NanoClaw and gain some mental models by reading the code base and kind of configuring it. And for the claw curious, with an Anthropic sub, yes, NanoClaw runs on Claude Code, so you could leverage something you already got. You're already in the ecosystem. So I've been talking about NanoClaw, but specifically, what makes NanoClaw different than these other claw stuff? It's defined by 3 characteristics. One, it's embracing AI nativity. So there's no dashboards, no wizards. Claude handles the setup, the debugging, customization when you want to add a channel or a new feature. It's architected for security. So by its design, that was like the reason it was made. The author saw OpenClaw and was like, how can we make this more just safe to put on my computer? And it's also betting on Anthropic's harness. So if you already use Claude Code, this is great for you. AI nativity, what do I mean by that? Well, one, it's skill-based. So when you want to start your NanoClaw journey, you clone the repo, open up Claude Code, and then run /setup as a skill. That's how you do it. That's how you get started, and it'll guide you through the process of like, I guess, configuring your initial setup. So for updates, if you want to do updates, it's /updates. /debug is another skill in case you need a debug. No dashboard. So there's no dashboard. So OpenClaw has this big, very, very pretty dashboard you can access. If you want to know what's going on with your NanoClaw install, you just kind of talk to it. Or maybe have it generate a dashboard for you. Also, the core is only extended as far as your desires. So if you want to add a new channel, like Discord or WhatsApp or any of the other ways people talk to each other, it's a skill, a /command. Or do something cool, like use Apple containers instead of Docker containers, or talk to your claw. It's all skill based. So that's AI nativity, which sounds like a Jesus thing, but it's not. Security. So NanoClaw is architected for security. It is run in a bunch of containers. So you have an agent, and it has its container, and it has access to the host a little bit with directories that you pre-configured. The agents are isolated from each other. And when you want to use pass in secrets or something to access some service, or I guess Anthropic sub itself, secrets are shadowed. So the container itself, what's inside the container, never sees your secrets. And yeah, agents are limited to their own virtual machine. And I've already said, but 4,000 lines. You can read it in one sitting over a cup of coffee, or you can have your agent look over it and have it fit in its nice, less than 100K context window. Security. Third part, betting on Anthropic's harness. So OpenClaw runs on Pi. It's like a really minimal, really tiny core that's underneath OpenClaw. That means that OpenClaw has to do a bunch of kind of stuff to make it, well, they really just have to put more work into making it this nice agent you talk to and interact with. Meanwhile, NanoClaw, it's really just Claude at the end of the day, which is good for a couple reasons. One, it keeps in line with their terms of service. You can use NanoClaw and use a sub and not get, banned or whatever. That's so sad. And of course, you can leverage Claude Code's frontier features as they come out, e.g. swarms. You can do that in NanoClaw, have a bunch of sub-agents work for you. And also remote control with Claude Code works with NanoClaw. So you can pull out your phone, pull out the Anthropic app, and be like, hey, NanoClaw, order me some pizza. That's a bad example, but you get it. Finally, so 2 days ago, OpenCode, another kind of agentic tool, merged a change to remove Anthropic's providers from their code base. Because a month before, Anthropic was like, hey, we're going to sue you. So you better get on this. And additionally, that same day, OpenCode broke because Anthropic just changed something in their backend. And everyone was on Discord trying to figure out how to get their subs working again. I may have been one of those people. It was okay. So yeah, NanoClaw doesn't have that problem. Built on Claude Code, and therefore in line with Anthropic's terms of service and intentions. Finally, landing the lobster. So software is my background, so I'm comfortable thinking in code. And that's why I chose NanoClaw out of all the claws. So I could pick up new mental models without getting lost. But don't take my word for it. Kaparthi, Lord of Vibe Coding, corner of the term, released a tweet, which I didn't put the screenshot in for, that he was like, NanoClaw, that was my fave. Anyways, you can try it out. So all you have to do is fork, clone, change the directory into the folder, run Claude, and then setup. And there you are. That's how you start your NanoClaw journey. You can go to nanoclaw.dev or the GitHub site, that's too long to say, and have a good time. Thank you. 11 minutes.
Any questions for AJ on NanoClaw?
Keith.
Yes.
So what's the coolest thing your NanoClaw has done?
Please repeat the question.
Please repeat the question. The coolest, oh wait, I don't need to hold it. Really, the coolest thing that's done is kind of boring, which is keeping a spreadsheet up to date about coffee shops in San Diego. But it still feels nice.
Woo! It's really hard.
It is hard,
Yeah.
my man.
Question over here.
Does it go out and find the information for you? For the spreadsheet, it does all that for you and updates the spreadsheet.
We will message it,
Got it.
and it will, well, okay, so there's some sources that we'll configure, a pre-existing list, and it'll pull data from those. But then it'll look through the existing table and then kind of check through each source, like website or Yelp or whatever, and then see if anything changed.
I'm just wondering, to what extent is it, so like a lot of tools have also been built on OpenClaw, for example, like mission control, so you got like interface to see how all agents, all tasks are doing. To what extent is NanoClaw compatible with those tools that have already come out, or is it like, completely separate?
You said there's a tool that people use called,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So there's for example, also interfaces built on top of OpenClaw. For example, one mission control where you get like this big Kanban board. You can put new things on it. You see everything that your agents are doing. I was just wondering, to what extent do you think that NanoClaw is compatible with stuff that has been built on OpenClaw? With other words, if I'm running an OpenClaw configuration with lots of stuff that I got from the community, would it be easy to port, do you think, to NanoClaw, or would that be a whole lot of work?
it would be a good time. But yes, it would be a lot of work.
Could you just have your claw do the port?
You're right.
Really?
It's a lot of work for Claude.
Well, you have a max subscription, right?
Oh boy.
Question over here.
How quickly are you hitting like usage limits? And that I guess that's my main concern with Claude Code, is always I'm hitting usage limits quite frequently.
For me, I am not. I guess I just use the bare minimum model that I need. And often it's Haiku's enough.
Are you on Max? Is that
I am on the $100 plan, that's true. That's probably an important note.
Any other questions? I do have a question myself.
Tell me, Sam.
This may or may not be something you do know the answer to, but with OpenClaw, they have this idea of events and webhooks as ways in which to prompt your agent outside of scheduled routine cadences, right? So does NanoClaw depend entirely on Claude Code's features when it comes to cron jobs and the scheduled times in which you can prompt, or does it add, in addition to what Claude CLI comes with, things like webhooks or events, like internal events such as hooks?
The scheduled tasks are something built on top of Claude Code.
Okay, but nothing as far as like external gateway webhooks or anything like that?
Nah, man.
Okay.
But you can do it
Okay.
with Claude.
What about adding Discord then? What does that do?
Oh, what does adding Discord do?
If it doesn't use an external webhook or anything.
I see what we're talking about now. Sorry, I was confused. You can add Discord. It will call webhook, and you will be able to talk to your bot.
Okay, that's good. Another question back here.
So in the past week, we've seen, I mean, Anthropic, like always, is like pumping out features. It's kind of crazy. But the past week, they had this patch. They have some stuff related to running cron jobs. They have some stuff, like they're clearly aiming at reproducing a lot of functionality people like in OpenClaw, right? How does this, like, how does NanoClaw see that, right? Because like if it's running everything, like the whole thing about OpenClaw is like, you know, I'm running my own agents and I can switch the provider at the bottom. I'm using Codex or using Olama locally or switching to whatever. And then with NanoClaw, as far as I'm understanding, it's all Anthropic, right? Like full-blown Anthropic harness. But Anthropic is like sort of aiming at the OpenClaw use case. Like what's the philosophy there? Like if, you know, they come in and basically...
The philosophy is to shove as much complexity as possible down to Anthropic, and then add the nice cherries on top.
And if they reproduce everything, then...
Great.
Okay.
I guess one thing you could bet on is NanoClaw will always be open source, right?
I guess.
It's free and open source.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions for AJ? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much, AJ. Awesome stuff.